Hi, Dr. Melissa. Met you earlier. Kathy Barron, I saw you in the group. Yay, hi. Kimberly, I saw you in the group. Hi. And Chris, I don't think I saw you earlier. I don't know. Were you on the meetup last month? No? Okay. So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you,
Um,
just so you don't think you're talking to a mute person.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, it's a minute to the time. And I guess before we get started, hello. Thank you for everybody for coming. Thank you for being here. This is my first presentation like this in this particular way. Normally I'm teaching, like teaching a particular thing. Like I'm very techie and I'm normally teaching like how to do this and how to do that and how to do the other thing. So this is gonna be a little bit different, but we're gonna work our way through it, and Amy and Nancy promised to help me out. So would you mind everybody putting in the chat where you're tuning in from? So that I'll know. I'm on the East Coast, by the way, in Washington, D.C., California, LA, and Oregon. Everybody's on the West Coast. Okay, one person, Kimberly, is in Long Island, New York. Okay. Amy's in Los Angeles too. Okay. So most people are on the West Coast, but we got one on the East Coast over here with me. Did you get snow, Kimberly, recently? We got we got about like between 3 and 6 inches here in DC last night. So
Wow,
it's
DC got
been,
more than New York. I'm impressed.
yeah. Yeah, maybe we took some of yours. You want it back? I'm ready to give it back. Okay, so let's get started. Today, I want to talk about, we're here to talk about um, marketing alternatives. That's our topic, marketing alternatives to social media. And this topic came up because of a post in the group where somebody was unhappy about the direction of Meta and Mark Zuckerberg's announcement. And, just she wanted to know if there are some other ways that we can market ourselves and without using social media, like the standard platforms that are out there. And these platforms are getting very large and they're becoming like the establishment now, aren't they? um, but before we jump into that, I do want to let you know that in addition to talking about these marketing alternatives, well, I'm going to define for you what I believe marketing is, um, quickly. You won't find this in a dictionary or anything. Um, but I believe that marketing is using the tools and leveraging other people and the mechanisms that are necessary to help you to grow your revenue, serve your clients, and build loyalty. One of the things that is not talked about when it comes to marketing is retention, building loyalty and having people come back. Most marketers, what they talk about normally is, oh, post on social media. Oh, you should be running ads. And oh, you should have a website. You know, um, Depending on your business, some of those things may be necessary and sometimes not. Um, what tends to happen in the marketing space, and I'm so sorry for this, is that when people are selling a particular thing, of course, that's what they're going to recommend, right? If they are an SEO expert, they're going to recommend that you set up a website and that you do a whole SEO, um, what do you call it? Do a whole SEO project, right? And SEO is great. If you have a website, you should do. You should do SEO. But that may not be the most important thing that should happen in your business. A person who is a social media marketing expert might say, oh, well, what you should be doing is posting on social media every day. And you should be doing reels. Well, depending on your audience and your ideal client, that may not be the best thing to do, right? Maybe the best thing for you to do could be um, advertising on taxis as they're driving down the street, or networking in your local chamber of commerce or something, right? So there are lots of different things that come along with marketing. So, is there a tried and true framework, a way to do marketing that actually works? Yes, there is. And it's what I call the client life cycle. And the client life cycle is the journey that your client takes with you from traction to becoming a raving fan. So when people tell you, oh, you should be posting on social media, or you should be running ads, or you should be sending out cold emails, they're dealing with just that attraction piece. Well, what happens after that? You want to make sure that you are converting them easily. And then you also want to make sure that it's not a one and done transactional thing, that you keep them around. As a coach, if you're a coach, if somebody goes through a program with you and you bring them to a certain point, then the next thing might be for them to work with you on a different level, because we know that every solution sometimes can create a new problem, right? I have a new iPhone. Great. Oh, I need a different plug for it. I need a different cover. I need different, um, I need different cords and all this stuff. Having a new iPhone is a fantastic solution to maybe the old thing that I was using, but now I have some new issues that I need to solve, right? Every solution creates new problems. And so if once a client is finished with your program and they're done working with you, well, what's the next step? Um, so there is, if you're thinking that marketing is just complicated and I can't do it, I am here to tell you that that is not true. Everyone can do it, and it's not as hard as you think. It can be confusing because there is a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of content, and people are pulling you here, there, and everywhere, and telling you all these different things and all these things that you need to be doing in order to market yourself, and to market your brand and your business. And and it can feel very confusing and stressful, but I am here to tell you that it doesn't have to be that way. Okay. Any questions so far? Um, if not, I am going to introduce myself and tell you who I am. um, I am Simone Henry. I have been in business for over 10 years. I started, I got this idea from my sister. She sent me an email one day. This is how I got started in entrepreneurship. She sent me an email. She was in Spain studying Spanish, getting her Spanish degree. She had already gotten a music degree. And because she's now a professional musician, they asked her to sing for a program. And her accompanist didn't know the song that she wanted to sing. And so she emailed me and said, "Hey, can you find this song for me? I want to play it for them so they, they can hear the chords and they can play the song." I'm scouring the internet and I can't find a decent, good quality of the song she wanted. So I sent her what I had, and it was a poor quality MIDI file, but I sent it. And when I was done sending it, I realized this idea came to me, like there needs to be a place on the internet where you can get good quality Christian music and all these different genres, and it's not like hard. It should all just be available. And so I built a digital download store, had a bunch of different genres of Christian music on it. And people were saying, "Oh, this is a fantastic service. This is great." I wanted to sell both independent music and major music, but I didn't have the $200,000 to get started with the majors, and so I went with independent artists. And of course, they were very grateful because now they have a platform to showcase their music. Only problem was, I was not very good at marketing. And so that business did not do very well, right? I poured my heart and soul into it. I set up an internet radio station to go along with it. I had this great vision of creating a space online for people to just easily access it. And I was so sure it was just going to be an inspiration. It was going to be huge. I was going to be on the Oprah show. It was just going to be fantastic. But I didn't know what to do. I was just focusing on the, the few things that I heard from some of the marketing gurus, but it wasn't working. And ultimately, I didn't have a system, and I ended up having to shut it down. The all of the downloads dried up, the artists were telling people to go elsewhere. It was sad, it was very disappointing. I was so disappointed. I was just chasing people sometimes, and then other times I was inconsistent with trying to post on social media, and then I'm going months without being on social media. It was just it felt like, and I was in it for years, and like my family knew about it and my friends knew about it. And my I had the pastor at church pray over me when I first started it, and to have to shut it down, it was so disappointing. I wanted it to be so much more. So, but after that experience, like I knew I had to learn more. I wanted to keep providing services for independent artists. Um, so I started a new business. It wasn't a download store, it was more of a resource site for them. And as I'm working in this new thing, um, I started to discover and to learn more about the automated tools that are available to help you to market better, right? I realized that there's such things as funnels, and there's email marketing, and and you have to nurture your audience, and you know um, do little things that keep them coming back and build loyalty with them and get them to go out and refer people and bring them to you. um so I realized, like, so much of what I had been learning is just bad information. So many marketing gurus are focused on just this one little piece, and it's so short term and very transactional. And if you're a coach, you don't want your clients um to feel like this is just a transaction. Coaching is a very personal thing, um, as you're working with them. So And then there's people like like Alex Hormozy, who's all like hustle, 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 grind, 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 right? Work your butt off if you want to be a success. And that is so not my jam. Um, and one of the reasons is because I want to have a life. Another reason is because for me, in my health situation, I'm living with sickle cell disease, and um, grinding and hustling is not very good for my body, right? It is stress. High stress is a trigger for me, and it's not fun being in the hospital every 2 months and having needles in you and out of you. And, nurses were great, but still, it's not a great place to be. So I feel like that whole hustle and grind mindset in 2025, that's not necessary. There is a better way. So now I'm focused on building relationships and using the technology to help me. I grew up super duper shy, and I'm learning that even though um, I'm introverted and extroverted, but there are times when like the introverted part of me takes over. Um, and I get tongue tied and nervous about speaking to people and having the sales conversation and all that. And you know, 2024, 2025, there is help for all of that. AI is a huge, huge help. I have AI programs turned on for some of my interactions, and it's so great because it keeps people, when they're interacting with it, it keeps them focused on like business topics because people can kind of go off into left field. Um, and the AI being a program that doesn't get tongue tied, doesn't get shy, and never forgets what it's supposed to do, it will, get people to schedule an appointment. If I want them to schedule an appointment, I tell it, this is your mission. Get them to schedule an appointment. And it will do that. It will just keep bringing the conversation back around. Would you like to schedule an appointment to talk about it? It's so great. It's so great. But, it's not just about the tech, right? It's about creating a system that works for me rather than me working for the system. Um, and it's about creating a business that's sustainable and has long-term impact, right? If you have, if you are, if you build a system that is set up to attract, convert, and retain clients for the long haul, your business lasts, and you have a vehicle now that can you can sell, you can pass down to the next generation, you can begin to create generational wealth with your business. You can actually you have a system that you can hand off to somebody else. I know a couple of coaches who have, well, one who was starting over and another one who thought about shutting down her business because she, her business is going great, great programs, great events that she's running, but then somebody in her family gets sick and she has to go and take care of them. Well, if you are the only person running your business, who runs the business while you're off, taking care of your family member? You want to take care of the family member, but you don't want the money to dry up either. And so she was facing this dilemma, like, do I shut down my business? Another coach that I'm working with, she didn't shut down her business, but it did slow to a trickle, and there was no money coming in for her for a good long time because her father was diagnosed with dementia, and all of a sudden she's a caregiver. And so she's in this she's in this season of starting over now, simply because certain systems weren't in place that could keep going. When you have good systems in place, you can come out of your business, plug somebody else in, and the system keeps working. Right? Okay, so I hope I wasn't too long-winded. That is my story. That's where I came from. But what I want to talk about today is how to attract leads without social media, how to convert them into paying clients, and how to retain them for long-term success. Okay. So question for you, and feel free to unmute and answer. But what is your biggest struggle with marketing outside of social media? Anybody want to answer that?
I can
No
answer.
takers?
I
Okay.
so I left social media very willingly. I just never went back. I had both my knees replaced last summer, and so I was just like, I can't do this. My mental health is suffering. I can't do this. And I had been running my whole business for years on Facebook and Instagram, right? I have a really good email list of like 500 plus some odd folks, many of whom don't really purchase from me. They really love my content, but they don't really buy from me. Although that is changing now. But and so when I left, I had this whole moment where I was like, what am I gonna do? Like, what's gonna happen to my business? Like, is the whole thing gonna, fail and go down in a ball of flame? Like, what's gonna happen? And I definitely have noticed that as I'm offering my new programs right now, that I don't have a whole lot of traction like I would used to. But I am noticing that the people that I am starting to get people from my newsletter and from the Passionistas project to sign up for the workshops that I'm offering. And I was totally freaked out about leaving social. Like I was like, I really had bought into what I think is a total lie, that if you're going to have a successful business, especially I'm a service-based business, right? Like I'm a spiritual business. And like, I just totally bought into this idea that the only way for me to have a successful business was to have 3,000 followers and an online presence, right? Um, and I don't know if I'm answering your question, but I'm really, really happy I left social media. And I wish I understood my list better. So, I mean, been a constant battle I've been running my business for almost 8 years, and that's been a constant battle for me, is trying to figure out my list. But
So when you say understanding your list better, you mean understanding like the type of people that are on your list, being
I
able
know
to
the type of
interact with
people
them?
that are on. I don't understand why they don't buy stuff from me.
Okay.
Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you would
Okay.
think that 500 plus people that, 10% of them would probably purchase something from me. Just saying. I'm not asking for the moon and the stars here.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I hear you. I hear you. Okay. So understanding their behavior,
Yeah.
purchasing behavior and engagement behavior. Okay. Anyone else?
This Chris. I don't I'm new to all of it. So I'm trying to figure out the social media thing, but also I think I just reached 100 on my mailing list, but I just signed up to MailChimp because I discovered that at some point February last year, the connection between my Squarespace and the Google Doc I had broke. And there are 97 emails that I haven't had the heart to go through to grab emails that were lost in that connection. But I don't understand how to do, like, I'm trying to figure out how to even manage MailChimp. I'm just myself, like totally, completely solo, and trying to manage what you're supposed to do here and there and build the thing you're trying to build. I'm a writer director who has a script I'm trying to get made as a feature film, but it's turned into something even bigger than that. And I'm also trying to build a community called the Blissful Spinster Community. So yeah, that's my thing, and Amy and Nancy were like, you should come to this thing because I have this deck of affirmation cards that is sitting across the room for me, and I've got 2 cats on my lap, so I can't go get, but I've got a pre-sale going on, and I've sold 20 decks, and I wanted to sell 200, and I can't figure out how to get past 20. So
Okay.
anyway,
Well,
that's in a nutshell. And Melissa, I would buy everything on your whole thing if I had money. So if I sell all 200 of these decks, I'll buy something, I promise.
oh, I love the support. Love the love. That's fantastic. Okay. So, being able to sell more than what you have, 20 is good, 200 would be better, right? I get that. Okay.
So for
Huh?
me, I publish a quarterly digital magazine called Women Who Podcast, and it'll be 4 years in April. And it's, the last year has been good. I don't think social media is necessarily bad, but I don't want to just have that be my only thing, in case, Armageddon does happen and everything goes down.
Which it has for TikTok people.
Right. I do
Mhm.
have a mailing. I do have a newsletter that I send out twice a month. Um, but it's mostly informational and to let people know that a new issue is out. I don't, I have links at the bottom of the newsletter. But I'm not one to hard sell people. Um, so I remember back in the day, you could like list your ad in the yellow pages or list an ad in the back of a magazine or a newspaper or something. And that doesn't even seem to be an option anymore. Not that it would probably produce anything, but it just
Mhm.
seems like there has to be more options out there than social media. I think I like social media. I don't like the billionaires behind it, but I think it's a great way to build community and to network. Um, but there has to be a way of being able to bring more attention. Like I just need more. uh, I need to get out there more as far as the magazine and bring in more people that are aware of it, because I don't think that I've even come close to tapping into the podcast community with it.
Okay. So you need to build awareness and you are uncomfortable with hard selling. Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
marketing is not on my list of things to do at all at any point in my life.
I think a lot of people feel that way. When I started my business, I felt like I'm a web developer. All I need to do is build my website and I'm good. That's not true. Marketing. I have learned that, especially when you're first starting out, marketing should be about 80% what you do in your business. And that's probably not what anyone wants to hear. um, okay. Kimberly, don't want to jump in?
So
Okay.
I do the online. I do the website, I do the MailChimp, but I also do offline, marketing as well. And for me, what that means is engaging with people face to face, building a relationship where I can show them how I bring value. So my business is financial services. And so what's worked really well for me is when I've made a difference in someone's life, when I've empowered them, I ask them to market me. Like I feel like the best marketing comes from those people that have used my service or have been positively impacted. There's nothing better than the word of mouth. But I think that what happens is we don't ask for it. And I made it a point to do that. So, today I sat with a client or a potential client, right? And in the conversation, they're pretty well set up. And I said, you know, I think you're doing great. But and they said, you know, but how can I help you? Like, he really wanted to work with me. And I said, I don't tell people to just change because I do what you already have. If I think you're well positioned, you're well positioned. But I did tell him, and I asked this of everyone, I said, I only have two things I ask for. One is one of them is, you know, do business with me, right? But the other part of it is if you feel like your experience with me empowered you, you learned something from me, you feel this was positive, then refer me to 3 people that you care about that you want to have that same experience. And immediately
Absolutely.
they're like, Michael, Michelle, and Gina. Okay, great. Can you, and I use, and to make that connection, like, social media is great, but you know, what I find about social media, and I am the same way, is we're more consumers of it than anything else. And by that, I mean, we scroll, we read, we watch, we laugh, right? I mean, if I'm not careful, I could be up to 2 o'clock in the morning because consuming social media,
Yeah.
and it's not empowering me. I feel like it's disempowering, right? And so I've taken this approach that I use that because, unfortunately, while we all agree, like, you know, how can we get away from social media? The market, at least for me, the market I serve consumes social media. So I need to be there so they at least see me, right? And then when they meet me, people are like, oh, I've seen your post, or I've seen whatever. And there's that connection, you know? So
Yeah.
that's how I engage with social media. But it can almost feel like a full-time job, because it's, whether it's social media or whether it's marketing through one-on-one, you have to give of yourself. And
Yeah.
I really do believe that if you can impact someone positively, they will do all the rest. But that is the key. It's to take what you do and make it relatable to the individual, where because they know you, their life is that much better. They will every day, all day, tell everybody about you. Just like if they go to a restaurant and they get the worst service and people are rude to them, every day, all day, they'll tell people about
They will
that,
tell people.
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I
Absolutely.
flipped it on the head, right? Great
Yeah.
service, great connection, empowering people. I just give. And I believe when you give, you get. So that's what I think.
Absolutely. And I do like your idea of basically asking you shall receive when it comes to those referrals, because that's what one of the things that a lot of people just don't do. It is asking,
Yeah.
asking. You know, that's part of the well, it's one of the ways that you can get new clients coming in the door who already are a bit warmed towards you. They're not completely cold. They come in kind of knowing you based on what their friend said or what somebody who they like and admire said. So that's great. So let's talk about attracting new leads without social media, right? So here are some ideas. I mentioned this before, SEO and blogging. In the simplest form, or the simplest definition of SEO, it stands for search engine optimization. And its simplest definition is to answer people's questions in the same language in which they asked you the questions. SEO is really, it's really how do people find you from, say, Google or Bing or the other search engines? How do they find you, find your website or find your videos or find anything? You're using the same words that they're using to search, and you're answering their questions and their queries based on based on that same language. That's SEO in its simplest terms, right? and Kimberly, you mentioned this, speaking and networking, right? I'm doing an example of this right now. I am speaking on a platform that I do not own, that is controlled by something else or by someone else. It's an audience that I have not cultivated myself, but now that I'm in front of you, now you're getting to know me, and now some of you may come into my audience. So speaking, networking, um, podcasts, virtual summits, local events, referrals, those are great ways. And one of my favorite marketers, his name is Dan Henry, he likes to say, forget the funnel, have the conversations, right? I won't say forget the funnels, because I think funnels are very important as for automation, but having those conversations are extremely important, and extremely valuable. And I like to do it this way, in a one-to-many forum, because it collapses time. You can have a conversation with many people at once, rather than, an hour with this person, an hour with that person, an hour with that person, an hour with that person. I can spend an hour with 4, 5, 10, 20, 30 people all at once. Collapses time. So, and then there are, and I'm glad you like that definition of SEO. I thought it was a great definition myself. Strategic partnerships, collaborating with other businesses that aren't competing with you, but do share your same audience. So doing those same things where you're on their podcast and they're on yours, and you're doing the summits together. I've seen people do these collaborative books. What do they call them? Anthologies together. So there's lots of ways to collaborate and build a strategic partnership. I'm actually collaborating with another coach next week. I'm speaking on a platform that she introduced me to, where she's actually speaking on writing a book and using a book as a great lead magnet to draw people in, and and sell your high ticket program. My role on that talk is to talk to them about how to get their books into the hands of their audience using technology and automation, right? So I will be creating a book funnel and talking to them about how to use a book funnel to get your book into the hands of people, right? So that's a strategic partnership and collaboration there. There's guest posting and doing PR, getting featured on blogs, magazines, right? So, one of you may have a magazine and the other one has maybe content that works great for that magazine. You come together and you help to push each other, right? So, hey, I'm featured in this magazine, and the more you are sharing the magazine among your audience, then your audience gets to know, Chris, who has the magazine, or Kathy, who has the magazine, and the people in Kathy's audience are seeing your artwork or your services, right? So that's a great way to collaborate and to share, guest spots, right? You can do that on podcasts, you can do it in magazines, you can do it in interviews. And then, of course, there's always, I always tell my clients and prospects, right? There are two currencies. You have time and money. If you don't have the time, all of the things that I talked about before take time. If you don't have the time, well, then if you want to get in front of more people, then you might need to spend the money, right? And that's in the form of Google ads, YouTube ads, doing sponsorships, things like that, where you are using funds to put your name out there, build up your brand, and get in front of more people. Okay, so let's talk about let's do a quick exercise, and I want you to put this in the chat. Brainstorm one strategy that you can test in the next 30 days that's not social media that can put you in front of more people. So if your budget is zero, and you have no dollars for ads, well, then you have to use your other currency. You have to use time. And when it comes to spending time, it's a good idea to create a habit and get in front of um, spend the time like going to networking events. There is there's a site called Alignable. It's a social media site, but it's not like the big ones, right? It's based on conversations. So if you say you carve out several time slots every week and you make it a habit to get into an Alignable networking room. What they do on Alignable is that they create they have these, they're like a little bit like speed dating events, and you go in the room, and it's an hour-long event, and they match you with one other person for 7 minutes, and you have a conversation with that person for 7 minutes, right? And you start to connect with people, right? And so if you're doing that on a consistent basis, now you have a consistent flow of leads. And then you put in place something where you are tracking the people that you're meeting and making sure that you're following up with them. Now you have a more consistent way of not just attracting those leads, but also following up and, pitching your services and getting referrals for yourself and referring them and just getting to know people and building your network, right? Okay, so we talked about, so here you guys are putting in ideas for attracting people outside of social media. Starting a Passionistas TV. Put yourself in front of other people. Interesting. I didn't know there was a Passionistas TV. I have to look into that myself, huh? Okay, an email campaign, collaborations with others, strategic partnerships. These are all great. These are all great. And I would suggest, because email is great and email still works, but I like to enhance email with text messages because you get more opens if you can remind people in another way that you've sent them an email, right? Okay, so Amy says the mission is to get on 2 podcasts a week and get in front of other people's audiences. That is perfect. That is perfect. There's Clubhouse. Clubhouse is great because it's almost like a podcast. And podcasts are really big because you're every week on a consistent basis, generally every week. Some people have monthly podcasts or biweekly podcasts, but as people are going about their day and they're doing these things, you're in their ear, and you're in their ear on a consistent basis. And so even though they don't see you, they're falling in love with you as they're listening to you on a consistent basis. Podcasts are fantastic for that. And Clubhouse does the same thing. So guesting on podcasts or running an aligned workshop on, say, Passionistas. Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Amy is in favor. Okay, and Amy says, you guys have been doing alignable networking. Yeah, that is so great. You've gotten a lot of women signed up for your community because of that. Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, I would like to know about Passionistas TV. I do a lunch and learn every Tuesday at noon Eastern time. All right, let's talk about, now that you are out here collaborating and you're on podcasts and doing guest spots and speaking, how do you convert those leads into clients? So that is our next step. We want to not just have all these people that are soaking up our content on a regular basis, and money's not coming in, right? We want to get paid for our work. So doing some email marketing is a good strategy. Webinars and workshops where you can teach and showcase your expertise and get in front of your audience, kind of get eye to eye with them, whether it's in person or on a Zoom like this. Sales funnels and landing pages, where that's my specialty, and where you can kind of automate that conversion process. Referrals and affiliate programs. For my next challenge, I plan on running a referral contest where I'm gamifying the whole referral system, right? Send me the more the one with the most referrals gets a prize. Gamification, when especially like with courses and communities is pretty big right now, and it gets people to move, and these are things that you can automate and keep it going. And then there's also direct outreach, having Zoom calls one-on-one like this, or phone calls where you are doing consultations. I had a consultation with somebody yesterday who gave me some great value. And now, because of that value and the time that he spent with me, I am now predisposed to purchase his service. So how about, so let's do this. Put this in the chat too. What are a couple of ideas that you can do to convert all these great new leads that you're about to get? Well, nobody converts all of the leads, but you want to convert some of them. So tell me some ideas. What are you thinking about doing based on what some ideas that I just put out there? Oh, and then when it comes to, and I want to say this, like, I know the hard selling sometimes, well, nobody wants to be hard sold. And generally, you're a service provider, you're a coach, or you're you're running your business. You don't want to do hard selling either, right? That's not your lane. So you make your marketing as clear, and you make your branding as strong and as clear as it can be, and let that do the selling for you. And what you do, especially if you're in a consultation, you provide value and then invite them to attain more with you. And in that way, you don't necessarily have to do any hard selling. And then always, 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 if the answer for them is no, just know that it does not change your life in any way. So then you don't have to have this attitude of, oh, I'm so disappointed, or, oh, I'm so mad, or, oh, this, that, or the other, because people can feel that. They can feel that, that energy coming from you. So just keep an attitude of you're the hot girl in the room, right? And if, and the guys they need to come to you, right? You're the hot one. You have what they need. So if it's up to you whether you want to work with them or not, right? So have that attitude when you're in a selling conversation. And in that way, you don't have to do any hard selling. Right. And sometimes a no isn't necessarily forever. Sometimes it's not now. And this is why we nurture them. We nurture them, we keep providing value, we keep that conversation going, we engage, we build loyalty, and boom, one day you send an email, you mention something, you've got a new thing on, and oh my goodness, I need that. And you've been nurturing them for 3 years, and all of a sudden they're ready. It happens that way sometimes, right? Okay, so Kimberly offers a free conversation, a free consultation to give value. Awesome. So that is your conversion event. And let's see, Amy says we're amping up our premium content to create as much value in that space as possible. So more people will convert to the paid membership. Absolutely. And then sometimes, and I'm learning this with communities. I'm about to beef up my free community. Sometimes it's just asking. And one of the great things about automation is that you can kind of do a hard sell without it really affecting you or bothering you, because the computer just does it. It just sends it out, right? And you don't have to feel any way about it. It's just kind of, this is just what happens, you know? And I love that. So what the plan for my community is, you come in, you have a conversation with me, I give you value, and um, I tell you about my program. If you don't like that program, I give you another option. If you don't like that one, or you're not ready for that one, it's okay. Hang out in my free community. There's still great value there, right? And it doesn't have to be a hard sell, right? But like Kimberly said, you do have to ask. Otherwise, there are times when you can kind of create this culture or this attitude sometimes with all your content and all your value, that you're just here to give free stuff and you're just such a nice person. But remember, you're running a business, and if people don't know that you're selling something, or you don't remind them that you're selling something, they will completely forget, because their stance is they're just living their lives, right? There are times when people will ask you, hey, this sounds really great. Do you have something I can buy? Because I want more. But there are times when you just need to ask. There is there are rules, and people have their different frameworks and things. I heard this one lady say, like, she sends out nurture emails, and in her nurture emails, like every seventh email, every sixth email is a promotional email. I had one lady unsubscribe from my mailing list because I started sending out sales emails. Like, well, you know, sorry to see you go, but goodbye. I'm going to send out sales emails because I am selling something and I need for you to know. I'm not just here to give free information, you know? So there will be people who want to leave, and it's okay. And don't let that sit in your heart or in your spirit in any way. It just means that they're not a good fit, and you want to work with people who are good fits, because those are the people that you can turn into raving fans, as I like to say. Okay, so let's talk now about increasing the lifetime value of your customers. And what we want to do is, and this is where we work to keep them. Once you get a client, you don't want them to say, okay, thank you, and then leave and you never see them again, right? So some great ways to ascend, or to keep a client engaged and keep them in your ecosystem, is by doing memberships or subscriptions. So like a magazine or a newsletter is a great way to keep people in your ecosystem, and not have it be a one-time transaction and then they're gone. They stick around, right? As long as you're providing value, they will see that, okay, they're providing that money, is a good exchange for that value, right? Loyalty programs and having exclusive offers. So rewarding loyal customers and repeat customers is a great way to keep them coming back, and to gamify the purchasing process, right? Um, I've been in places where like they give me the little coupon card, and for my purchase that day, I get one. They clip off like one of the little thingies. There's like 10 of them, and so I want to keep coming back because like when I get the 10th one, when I get the 10th punch hole, I get something for free. Free stuff. That's great, especially at a store that I like to buy from. So we have this great Mediterranean eatery out here called Cava, and when I go in there, I make sure that I signed up for their rewards program, and so whenever I go in there and I buy something, I make sure that I scan my code on the app because I know that that's going to give me some rewards. And the more I come back, the more rewards I get, right? That's a great way to keep people coming back. Let's see. Personalized customer experiences, right? Follow-ups, check-ins, VIP treatment. People like you know, to be treated fancy and to have nice experiences. I had a coach who stopped flying. She stopped flying coach and started flying first class everywhere she went, simply because it's a nice experience. She's on the same flight. Has to, she's not gonna she gets on the plane first. Yeah. She gets, she may get to get off first. But other than that, um, sh- the plane is going the same place. It takes the same amount of time to get there, right? Um, when she's at the airport, she has to go through the same TSA, experience and all of that. But when she gets on the flight, it's just a nicer experience, right? You get seated first, you get drinks, and you get wider seats. It's just a nicer experience, right? Some people are willing to pay a premium for a nicer experience. And if you can provide it for them, go right ahead. You should absolutely do that, right? If you're selling a book, you can upcharge for a book that you've autographed, right? Or one that's hardback versus paperback. Or like, your magazine comes in a pretty sleeve or something, or with an extra card in there that has a affirmation or something cool in it. There are, when you're giving perks, people people will pay premium for a nicer experience, right? Having a community. There might be private groups in the community, masterminds, doing some email-based networking. I've been introduced to several people through email. And then make sure you're doing automated follow-ups, right? It helps you to stay top of mind. And I have what I call a forever nurture. So in my emails, I send out tips and education and stories, but then I also, every so often, I'll just do a check-in. I'm not asking for anything. I'm not trying to teach you anything. I'm just, "Hey, how are you? How's life? How's business? What's going on?" And you would be surprised, like there is a flood of feedback on those because people they just like that human to human interaction. And just because it's automated doesn't mean that it can't be personalized and you can't have a human connection, right? So let's brainstorm again. Let's pick one way that you can retain clients better and keep them in your business. They say a current client is the best client. Any thoughts? Want to put them in the chat? Oh, no memberships, subscriptions, forever nurture. Yes, it's awesome. It's awesome. Okay. Articles that pertain to something specific to them. Absolutely. Thank you notes. Awesome. Do you send those thank you notes in the mail, or do you send them, or is it digital?
No, I personally write the thank you note and mail
Mhm.
it. Yeah.
Let's see, in the digital age, getting something in the mail is special,
Yeah, exactly.
especially if it's not a bill, right? It's not a bill, or it's not a circular from the grocery store. So let's see what else. Introduce, um, okay. Introduce every new member to at least 2 or 3 existing members. That's awesome. So you're building that connection immediately. And when you have a community, um, making friends creates stickiness. People don't want to leave their friends. So that's a great way to get people to stick around, right? Okay, and recurring clients come back because they're continuously inspired. Okay, and yes, thank you notes in the mail is awesome. So now, so you, Dr. Melissa, you have clients that come back because they're continually inspired. Is there a way that you can reward them for that loyalty?
Oh yeah, I buy them presents.
Okay.
I mail them magical books in the mail.
Oh, nice, nice. That's a great way to keep them coming back. Okay. Planning to start a Substack newsletter. I'm not sure what Substack is. Is that a platform? I think I've heard of it. It's a platform, right? Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's a platform that allows you to have um, free a free part, but also a subscription part, which is what I've been trying to figure out with my, because I just finished my redesigning and redoing, purposing my podcast, because it's Blissful Spinster started as a podcast and now it's gonna be bigger than that.
Okay.
I've had several friends suggest that Substack, connecting the Substack to my Squarespace is what I'm trying to, like, what'll help. I'm just trying to figure out what's going to go behind the paywall because an awful lot's already free. Like, you can access all of my.
I can totally help you with that, Chris.
Okay, great. So anyway,
You and I
that's
should get on a call because I can
amazing.
help you monetize Substack.
Okay.
Oh, fantastic. I love it.
Melissa Bird.
Yes, you gotta, um, yeah, monetizing. You want to be paid for your work, you know, even though you're providing value helps you to build loyalty and everything. But you know, uh, getting getting paid helps you to keep going and providing that good work, right? So, um, so I love that. All right, so let's see. Give Passionistas charm bracelets to every premium member. Awesome. For milestones. Now, see, that is fantastic. So, that's like a nice little surprise and something, definitely something you get in the mail. That's fantastic. Okay. So you guys are thinking, you know, outside the box of normal marketers. And all of these activities helps to get in front of more people and to raise your revenue, which is what marketing is supposed to do, right? So let me know, are there any questions that you would like to ask before we end tonight? And I'm sorry that I am over time. I apologize. I would like to, before anybody goes, I would like to invite you into my community where I help you to automate your systems. And I am giving away my virtual event funnel template. It is my virtual event funnel is a four page funnel where I show you how to do your landing page, upsell page, um, an application page, and a thank you page. And of course, you can customize and make it nice as you want. But I am offering that to you for free, for if you like to come into my community and also see any of my trainings, other trainings that I do. My next training coming up is called Funnels 101, where I show you like what a funnel is and what it all entails and what how it's actually helps you in your business. So if you're interested in that, let me know, put that in the chat, and I will provide my information. And any questions?
When you say automated follow-ups, is that like, what's the automated part? Is that like scheduling newsletters? That's what I currently do. Like, could you clarify a little bit what that means?
Yeah, mostly I'm mostly thinking about emails and text messages, so say you meet somebody in a networking event. You can set it up that your email system will automatically follow up with them and maybe invite them on a call to continue the conversation you were having, tell them a little bit about you, just an automated follow-up system so that you don't forget and they don't forget you. Absolutely. I am going to put, let me see, my group is called Automation Made Easy. And I am putting the link in the chat for you to join. See you later, Kimberly. Thanks for coming. Grab that link before you go. All righty, I think that is all I have for today. So just want to make sure that you understand that marketing isn't just about, oh, let's post on social media every day, right? It's about attracting, converting, and retaining those clients. That is how you build a solid business that works for you and where you don't have to work for it. Okay.
Thank you for coming, everybody, and thank you, Simone. That was so helpful.
You're welcome.
And everybody, Simone's in the community, so if you have any questions, you can also reach out to her. You can direct message her, or there are threads that have been started. Just tag her in posts, and she'll see them. But we will keep this conversation going beyond this, and we'll spread the word about your upcoming event too.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And thank you all for participating.
Thank you. That was very informative. Thanks so much.
Have a great night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Hi, everybody. Thank you.